this video is both to remind myself and as a note, but this is on organization and getting work done. And that is, you have to have, to get a project done, you have to be focused on the project. And you have to, like, I have a friend who's, has his own superstar shit, and he, had like multiple different beers brewed at the same time. Just way more than I would think is reasonable to be simple and all that. But when you focus on a project, you can do it. If you're doing a lot of projects, it's tough, especially because, there's the setup, there's the work, and there's the cleanup. Those are all part of every damn thing you do. And this is clearly the cleanup isn't ready, partially because the organization isn't there. There's stuff here. There's stuff here. I started putting stuff on the wall, irrigation and stuff. Here's where some beers are sitting, or ciders that is, and they're in this in case something happens as an emergency. That's like a extra thing. This room is, built those shelves at some point, but this isn't good. This really should be wall to wall, super dense shelves with a space to get to the electrical, and here too. And these are small and just drawers and everything. It should be packed. Maybe nothing in the middle. That's the proper organization. This is a bit of a tricky thing, but I just keep adapting because it's hard to get a lot done if your organizational need is intense. It's, it's kind of both. So, here's a little one. These shallots need to be cleaned, and there's some more in those buckets. And here's the compost. So while something else is happening, shallots get cleaned. That's multitasking. That's why we have to be able to multitask. This too. This is here now. This music thing is going to be a new way to do it. Everything moved from the other office since Ani's working at her own job now that needs her own office. So this is a wonderful way to reorganize and collect. Even though this is a mess, it's, subtly not. This is a cover crop seed. This is this and this. So remove the cover crop seed and we're good. This little pile here is questions for cidering. This is, I don't know where to put it. This is a pile of crap. There's different things happening, but more cover crop. Corn to process, maybe that has to get winnowed actually. So, it's a process of figuring out the best way to do and move things. And in large part, it's only because there's an intense amount of work to do that you can get an intense amount of work done. So this is all mostly compost in here, which is going to get dumped in beds. But this mess has to get cleaned up because this picnic table has to move out of here so that this space can be a much stronger organizational force. But what am I going to do with this? And when am I going to have time to do it? The dogs have to go to the park. Something Ani just mentioned, and it's like, duh, but like the dogs don't need to go to the park. So that can be blended into just hanging outside. So I can work in these garden beds down here. These are cover crops coming, which I'm so thrilled about. The little green you see in here. But they've been sprinting around. I said, oh yeah, they were playing so fun, they sprint around. She's like, see, they don't need to go to the park. They can just play in there. And it clicked. So that's the main trick now. Finding little things to do so that they can keep busy, so that more organizational things. There's like 6 layers in there. The dogs are getting taken care of, and I get to be outside, which is always fun. And we're getting more organizational work done, and so on and so forth. So it's really a combination of how do you become organized while still working? Because you can't think of a project and think of all the organization and all, it's kind of like the waterfall versus agile thing. Software systems are one thing. They're actually easy. Sorry, Douglas Crawford, but, it's easy to do software systems relatively. But when you have a bigger project like huge vegetable production and fertility and nutrient enrichment of soils, these beds are cover crop. Here's tomatoes that did well. There's ones that did terribly. I think that's a heat thing. So everybody will be planted as early as possible, not to extend the season, but to create the season. It's too hot. So that's a side note. But how do you do all that? How do you think about all? Because you're okay. The more you're okay with this organization that's like acceptable, the more you can slowly see larger organizational pieces, for me at least, that can make it, easier to do multiple things at once. So it's just a lot of stuff coming together.